Hello everyone, I'm Pallavi Patil, working in Asharar Institute of Technology, College of Engineering. So today we are going to see the SQL concepts. So very first, introduction of SQL. So SQL is actually it is the query language. So what is the query language? So actually the query language is used to perform the different operations on the data which is stored in the database. So SQL actually stands for the structured query language, and it is also used to perform the different operations on the records which are stored into database. So different operations like the updating records, deleting records, and creating and modifying the different records, different database objects. So for these operations, we can use the structured query language. So it is just a query language. It is not actual the database. So to perform these SQL queries, we need to install the different database like Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, etc. So it is actually the query language. It is not the database. We use this query language to handle the data which is stored in the database. So these are some advantages of SQL. So it is a high speed, it is portable, it is very easy, simple, user friendly language. So it also supports object oriented programming. Uh, it can be used with all vendors which are used or which are working with the database management system. For this language, no coding is required because it's just a query language. Uh, it is used for relational database management. So it is a complete language for database, that is structured database, and it can be used as a programming and interactive language. Uh, dynamic, it is dynamic database language. It is also called as a client server language, and it can create the multiple views of a same data which is stored in a database. Okay, so very first, to learn the SQL language, first we have to see the data types. We need to understand the data types. So whenever you are going to learn any programming language also, you first have to learn the data types. Okay, so data types actually used uh, to know the type of data which we are going to store or which we are going to handle through the operation. Okay, so these SQL also having the different data types. So these are the data types which are used with the Oracle database, Oracle DBMS. So these are some important data types which we can use at the primary level. Okay, so we will see first the different basic data types used in SQL. So very first data type is char data type. So char data type means what? It is used to specify a fixed length string that contains numbers, letters, or any special characters. So we can, using character data type, char data type, we can handle 0 to 255 characters, and default size of this is 1. Okay, so you can also see the example here, the stud name. So stud name means what here? This is the actual column name, which is we are going to store in the database. After this column name, you need to specify the data type. So we are going to use the data type char, and this is the size. Okay, so maximum 20 characters you can store in this column. So after that, varchar and varchar2. So it is also used to specify a variable length string that can contain numbers, letters, and special characters. Okay, so the basic difference between char and varchar or varchar2 is char is a fixed length string uh, data type, and varchar, varchar2 Both are the variable length string data types. So varchar2 is used to store maximum data up to 4000 characters, and varchar2 holds variable length characteristic, and maximum data we can store while using this data type is 32,767 characters. Okay, so here you can also see the example of this. That is, first this is the student name, this is the column name. After column name you need to specify the data type. So data type is varchar and size is 20. Okay. So next data type is number, and PS. So P is a precision and S is a scale. So it contains the precision P and scale S. So number data type is actually used when you are going to store the numeric data. Okay, so it accepts the numeric data only. So precision means what? It is the number of digits present in your number, and scale means the number at the right of decimal point. Okay, so the precision P ranges from 1 to 38, and the scale S can range from -84 to 127. So here is the example of number data type. So marks, in the marks column we are going to store the numeric data type. So column name is marks, and after column name you need to specify the data type. So number data type and size is 5. Okay, so maximum 5 digits we can use in this column. Okay, after that next one is date data type. So date data type, it is actually used to store the valid date and time format with a fixed length. So by default format for date, so it is regarding, or it is used, the date format, this date format is used for Oracle 10G. So by default, a date format for Oracle 10G is DD MONYY. So by default, it can accept the date in this format. Okay. So whenever you want to store the specific or any date in the database or in the table column, you can use the date data type. Okay. So birth date is the column name, and after this column name you need to specify the data type. Okay, so whenever you want to uh, specify the column, you need to specify the data type of that column. Okay, so birth date is the column name and date is the data type. Okay, so by default this is the format, that is 11 MAR. MAR means March. You need to give the three characters of the first three characters of month. Okay, so 11th March 14, this date can be stored like this format. Okay, so this is the by default format using which we can store the date in the database. Okay, and after next data type is long data type. So this data type is used to store the variable length string which contains the data up to 2 GB. Okay, so it is the data type whenever you want to store the long data, or uh, the string which contains very uh, large characters. Okay, so you can use this long data type, but only one restriction is there. Whenever you are going to use the long data type, you can use only for one column in the table. Okay, you cannot use more than one column. Okay, whenever you are going to use the long data type, you cannot use this data type more than one column. Okay, so you can use this data type only for one column. Okay, so these are the basic data types you need to understand at the primary level. Okay, so there are more data types also present, but at the primary level these data types are enough to start the SQL. Okay, so next one, uh, here these are the components of SQL. Okay, so Structured query language contains the different components like DDL, DML, DQL, DCL, and TCL. Okay, so DDL means data definition language. Okay, so data definition language in SQL, it is actually used to create the structure of your schema. Okay, overall structure or structure of your table. Okay, so in actually SQL language is used to uh, create or used with the uh, relational database. So relational database is actually stored the data in the form of table. Okay, so DDL is actually used to create the structure of your database. Okay, then DML, this is the data manipulation language. So this is used to manipulate the data which is stored in the database. Manipulate the data means you can insert the data, you can update the data, or you can delete the data. So these three operations are included into data manipulation language component. Next component is data query language. So it is used to fetch or retrieve the data which is stored in the database. So according to some users requirement, you can retrieve or fetch the stored data in the database. So after that, next component is a DCL, that is data control language. So it is used to grant and take back authority from any database user. So if we can create the different users on the database, and you can also grant or revoke the different privileges to that authors. So for this operations, we can use the data control language component. Okay, after that, the transaction control language, that is TCL. So it is used to control the different operations performed on the records which are stored in the database. Okay, so these are the components of SQL. So very first we will see one by one. So very first component, and this is a very basic and starting of our SQL, that is data definition language commands. Okay, so actually stuff SQL is used with the relational database, and of course relational database is used to um, store the data in some structure. Okay, so structure is the table structure. So table structure having the rows and column. Okay, we are going to store our data in the form of tables. So in the form of table means we are going to store our data in the form of rows and columns. Okay, so DDL command, actually DDL commands are used uh, to create the structure of table. So actually we are going to create the structure of table means we are going to create, first we are going to create the columns of the table. Okay, so DDL commands, actually data definition language contains total 6 commands. So very first command is create command. Okay, so create command, actually it is used to create the table structure with a particular name. Okay, so using this first command, that is create command, which is fall under the data definition language command. Okay, so this command is used to create the table structure with the particular name. Okay, so every command having its specific syntax. So syntax for creating table in the database is create table, table name into bracket, column name 1, here data type into bracket size. This is the first column. Then up for second column, for creating second column, you need to give the comma, then column name 2, the data type size up to column name n, data type size. So whatever your, as per user's requirement, user can create the different columns. Okay, so this is the syntax, and here the example for creating the table in the database, that is create table, then student info, this is the table name, and into bracket roll number, data type is number into bracket, this size. Okay, so we need to specify the size because this is the syntax, that is column name 1, data type size. After that, column name 2, that is student name. Then here data type is varchar2, size is 20. And next column name is marks. Then data type is number, and this 4 is a precision, 2 is a scale. Okay, so this is the example for creating the table. So here now we are going to see the practically how we can create the table in the database using create command. Okay, so I'm going to use the SQL command line. Okay, and Oracle database. I'm using Oracle 10G Express database. So here I'm using the SQL command line, and we will see how create command works. Okay, or how you can create the tables in the database. So it is very first starting of our SQL. So first we need to connect our command line using connect command. Okay, after that you need to give the username. So username is a system, which is by default uh, for Oracle, and password. So this password is set while you are going to install the Oracle. Okay, so this password is given while installing the Oracle 10G Express. Okay, so I am typing the password. So after typing the password, my SQL command line is connected. Okay, so after connecting the SQL command line, now you can perform the different SQL queries in this. Okay, so very first we will see how to create the table. So our syntax for creating table is create table, table name. So here we can write create. So here these commands are not case sensitive. Okay, so you can write this create in small letters, or you can also write this command in capital letter. Okay, so create table. Okay, so create table. Now you need to specify the table name. So while specifying the table name should be unique. That is, you cannot create the tables with the same name. Okay, and table should not be start with the number. Afterwards you can use the number, but table name should be start with the character. Okay, so here I'm going to use the table name student info. Okay, so create table student info. So after that you need to open the bracket, then very first column name, that is roll number, column name data type size, this is our syntax. So very first column is roll number, this is my column name. After that you need to specify the data types, which we have already seen. So roll number, in the roll number column you are going to store the numeric data types. So here I'm going to use the data type number. Okay, and after that you need to specify the size. Okay, size gives you means maximum 4 digit you can store in this column. Okay, so roll number and size is 4. So this is my first column. Okay, after that for next column, for creating next column, we need to give the comma. Okay, after comma next column is student name. So for student name I'm going to use the stud name. This is my column name. Then data type, here you can use the char, varchar or varchar2 according to your requirement. You can store or you can use the data type. Okay, because we are going to store the characters in the student name. So I'm going to use the varchar data type. Okay, so size, so maximum size I used 15. Okay, after that marks. Okay, so marks you can use number. Okay, because uh, for storing marks we use the numeric data, so I can use the number data type. And here you can also use the precision and scale, as well as you can also use the precision no matter. Suppose I'm going to use the precision, that's also okay. If you need to define the scale, then you can use this, like this 5 comma 2. Okay, like this is the precision, this is the scale. Okay, so after that, uh, marks number, and next is department. This is my next column. So department uh, data type is varchar and total size is 10. Okay, so now my all columns are completed, or I required only this much column in my table. That is, first column is roll number, second one is student name, third one is marks, and fourth one is department. Okay, after completing your columns, you need to close the bracket that you have opened first. Okay, so this bracket is closed, and this is the actual query for creating the table in the database. Okay, so create table, table name, column name, data type size. Okay, then column name 2, data type size, column name 3, data type size, column name 4, data type and size. Okay, so after uh, completing the query, you need to give the semicolon and press enter button. Okay, after pressing the enter button, you will get the message like table created. Okay, so this is how you can create the table in the database. Okay, so uh, this is how you can use the create command for creating the database. Okay, so uh, other or remaining DDL commands we can see in next video. Okay, thank you.